Hello and welcome. This is Spectrum on Radio 1 and I'm Edmond, Kizito, your host. Tonight on Spectrum, the violence and malpractice which marred the Kampala Mayoral elections. What is candidate Erias Lukwago's version? Mayoral elections were suspended in Kampala last week following massive rigging and violence. Several ballot boxes were seized containing pre-ticked ballot papers in favor of Peter Sematimba, while many polling stations were manned by people perceived to be NRM supporters. Some polling stations opened as early as 5:30 a.m. and by 7 a.m. many boxes were already filled with ballots, beyond the number of voters actually available on the voters register. The election was also characterized by violence after stick-wielding men seen embarking from Super FM, which is owned by Peter Sematimba, beat up journalists and innocent bystanders, leaving most of them bleeding and admitted to hospitals. The Uganda Red Cross reported that up to 29 victims were treated for several injuries, including brain hemorrhage as a result of beatings they suffered. The Ugandan police was also criticized for not taking action against those beating up people, and if press reports are anything to go by, the incident has cost Andrew Sorowen his job as commander of the Kampala Metropolitan Police. Mr. Peter Sematimba featured on Spectrum on Friday and denied all involvement in both the rigging and violence, accusing two candidates, Erias Lukwago and another whom he declined to name, for being behind the incidents. 2 days earlier, another candidate, Michael Mabike, also featured on Spectrum and pointed an accusing fingers actually at both Lukwago and Sematimba, saying they should be disqualified from the race for fairing voters as well as rigging. The police arrested over 100 people, among whom was a group of youths from Mukono district, working as agents of mayoral aspirant Erias Lukwago, who were all charged in court. That is the suspect, the group of youths from Mukono district. They were arrested and taken to court. They were 46 in number, but the broad number of arrests was 100. Now the public is still wondering, how did the rigging and violence emerge in the mayoral race just after Kampala had witnessed a peaceful and parliamentary and presidential elections? Our guests tonight, Honorable Erias Lukwago, mayoral candidate, contestant on the independent ticket. You're most welcome, Honorable Erias Lukwago.
Thank you, Edmond, and the listeners.
We also are joined by a political analyst, Mr. Charles Rwomushana. He's a former RDC, a former member of the Constituent Assembly, and a former guild president. He also worked in the president's office as head of political intelligence. You're most welcome, Mr. Political Analyst, Mr. Charles Rwomushana.
Thank you, listeners and the viewers around here.
Honorable Lukwago, what in your view caused the fracas in the aborted Kampala mayoral elections last Wednesday?
I think an average Ugandan knows exactly what happened. If you care to follow the incident, the developments in the city, how they unfolded right from the start of the polling exercise, you could easily tell who is responsible. I don't need to put in a defense for myself against all the accusations leveled against me. But by and large, I would say yes. I personally witnessed what was going on because as a candidate, I was deeply involved in the exercise. But it is very, very unfortunate that an exercise which was supposed to be purely civil turned into chaos, and it was more or less now we are at the battlefront. Of course, those who planned and indeed perpetrated electoral fraud are the ones responsible for the violence that ensued. It all started when a group aligned to Mr. Peter Sematimba had several meetings, not even one, several meetings in various places, Serena, Super FM Radio, and many others. And if you looked at the ballot boxes with the pre-ticked ballot papers, they were all in favor of Mr. Sematimba. And the plan was, get these ballot boxes, deposit them at various polling stations, get these thugs, the hoodlums, to protect the vote. And the police would just wash their hands and say, for us we are not responsible. And possibly that's the reason why Sorowen, as you rightly put it, had to be sacked.
Why? Because
okay, go on. Let's get the...
Actually, the thing was, the police's role was not to allow any of my agents access those ballot boxes where they had been hidden. So the question which is being put across, and the reason why Sorowen was dismissed, how did Lukwago's agents and supervisors manage to unearth this thuggery? Because the police was supposed to give protection to the thugs.
To the thugs?
Yes.
Yes.
This is it. Because how many of them have been arrested? How many? Those who were seen emerging from Super FM, how many were arrested? Wielding sticks, with nails, with swords and whatnot. How many have been arrested? And my agents who were arrested in YEC and subsequently taken to court, how many of them were armed? How many of them were involved in any of the fracas in the city? Nothing. So, I'm telling you, I'm giving you the truth and nothing else but the truth. That the police's role in this whole saga was to protect the thugs who are perpetrating fraud. And that is very, very unfortunate.
Let's talk about, well, Sematimba was here on Friday.
This is the reason I'm defending myself, because I've had all these accusations against me.
All right. He says that this was a plant, that, you planned it, you pre-ticked with your agents, you pre-ticked ballots and stuffed boxes.
It's most outrageous. How could that happen? How Lukwago getting access to ballot papers which were printed by Electoral Commission, and I do that in such a subtle way that the police would not even detect where I was taking the ballot papers from. I stuff them into a ballot box and try and go and deposit them at various polling stations. Because at railway grounds, National Theatre here, but they already at the polling stations, even at Kakeka. How could I even manage the Kakeka polling station where Sematimba votes from? It was also stopped because of ballot stuffing. So, how could I do that? That means our security system is very, very weak. If I could manage to do that, to beat the security in this country, the intelligence in this country. Edmond, I don't know if you know how what it takes to tick close to 100,000 ballot papers, because...
Is that the magnitude? Let's get that clear. Because what we know is that it happened only at 4 polling stations.
No. Let me tell you, if you didn't have this information, it was not even 100,000.
Yes.
Because Kampala has got 1.2 registered voters, close to 1.2.
1.2 million?
1,180 something, close to 1.2.
Right. Okay.
They estimated that the voter turnout would be around 600,000, half of the registered voters.
Yes.
And out of that...
How many voters?
Around 600,000.
Okay.
Out of that, I would get around 400,000.
That's from your own estimate?
From my own estimate. And their own assessment of the support on the ground.
Okay.
So
they wanted to have in Tanduko 120.
At least to have more than 100,000 to start with.
Okay, let's get this clearly. You're saying Kampala has 1.2 million voters.
1.2 million voters.
About half were expected to show up to vote. About 600,000 people.
Yes.
And you're claiming that Peter Sematimba pre-ticked 120,000 with his friends.
It is more than that.
More than
120,000.
Yes.
To give him a head start in this campaign.
Exactly.
Well, but we also have 1,478 polling stations or thereabouts, according to figures we've looked at, and it's said that this thing was discovered only in 4 polling stations. It wouldn't make a difference, would it?
Let me tell you, as we talk right now, there are some ballot boxes full of pre-ticked papers which are stuck somewhere in various places. They have not been retrieved. They were supposed to
explain to us what happened. This looks like something straight from the movies.
No, why?
If I had the security on my side,
yes,
I would take them to those places where now those ballot boxes are still being hidden.
Let's get this clearly. What we've seen is only a tip of the iceberg.
Just a tip of the iceberg.
Go on.
You mean it only happened here at Railway Ground, National Theatre, or Bati Valley, Kakeka?
So what is the estimate?
What's the magnitude? It happened in all the polling stations?
According to intelligence?
According to my intelligence, there are 200 boxes 200. Because we have 1,448 polling stations.
Yes.
So at least they would start with the 200 boxes,
200 boxes
for the start.
And how many polling stations?
1,400.
All the polling stations are supposed to
447.
get. No polling station was supposed to be left out.
No, if you looked at that fraction of 200 out of 1,000, because each polling station is a box.
All right.
So if it,
Well, it could be more than a box. Okay, let's assume it's a box.
It's a box.
It's a box.
So if you estimated to have 1,400